Hello. I wanted to I went down to the Broward County Courthouse and, went to the law library where there's their Pro C unit, and, my goal was to file a federal, Pro C complaint thing, against the church. The Broward Law Library only has civil Pro C complaint things you can file on a civil. And the reason I wanted to do federal and not civil is, I think, common sense. Is if I were to file civilly, the church would just appeal to federal and then just get out of the charges that way. Because I don't know how to court. I had a flashback to talking to Blondie, and he was like, and he's gonna recover, and then he's gonna go to court, and once again, easy for me, because Blondie was handed everything. Once again, I guarantee you, everybody, dude, it's that stupid shit. He's the idiot rich kid who's like, I don't understand why the poor people complain when everything's so easy, when everybody around the rich kid just does whatever he wants because he's the rich kid. Like, Blondie is the higher up at the church, so everybody makes life easy for him, and then he's like, it's easy, see, because everybody just hands him everything. Like, you'll never, rich kids like Blondie will never ever understand, like, true, like, suffering or any of that other shit. That's why he's like, it's good for you, because it's temporary for him, but it's indefinite for everybody else. Like, so, yeah, I was down there. I've spent $210 just going back and forth, and I don't have the money to keep that up. It's way out of my budget. So I think it's a good thing to call the Pro C stuff as ending here. The lady in the law office told me I'd have to talk to the district attorney, and remember, if I talk to attorney, these people murder them. I'll kill him! That's what happens! Nobody's allowed to help you! I hate you! You hurted my feelings, and I can't get over it because I'm a little bitch! Stu. I could totally picture him doing that, and then everybody around him being like, oh no, Stu's feelings! Like, we can't afford to be soft, as Stu's doing that in front of them. Whatever, dude. Fucking... It's that stupid shit. And yeah, the 2-year-old, you need to put the 2-year-old in charge. He knows what to do. Anyways, yeah. So I think my only option is to try to commit a crime again, but I think the real reason the police aren't arresting me outside of, they're probably church members, because I'm under contract. It might be they're the only ones allowed to react to whatever I'm doing, or members of the church, and they're just going to refuse to arrest me. I might be able to beat a guy to death, and these people might still not arrest me. The other side is my sister lied to him and told him I was schizophrenic. So we have that. And this shit gets stupid, because when we were putting this plan together, and like I said, it's talking about Blondie and he just has to go. And I was like, this guy has to figure out how to chelate himself, figure out how to recover from hypnosis, figure out how to deal with anxiety. He has to figure out how to process unprocessed emotional trauma. He has to figure out how to overcome PTSD, CPTSD, borderline personality disorder. And I just ran down, like, all the psychological traumas I have. And Blondie was like, yeah! And I was like, are you some kind of idiot? I was like, you can't overcome those things without psychological help. You don't need it! You don't! And this is rich person personified. It's them having a home chef cooking for them, and babying them and them being babied and then them just screaming nobody else deserves it. You don't need it. You don't. And just, okay. Okay. Yeah, that's why I'm making these videos, because I'm mentally stable. Right. But I think that was part of the bullshit, because I remember the wives explaining to me they hypnotize people to make YouTube videos, and then because you're under constant watch, it causes fear and anxiety, and then you do stupid shit in your videos, and then they take you to court and go, he's crazy. We don't do any of that as they're fucking babies and eating corpses and just being gross because they're fucking weird. Like, whatever, dude. Totally normal. Totally normal. You don't understand. I'm totally... And just... Everybody knows that guy's fucking weird. It's your uncle that's a crackhead, and everybody knows he's a crackhead, and he's all like, whenever, hey kids, how are you? I'm normal. And it's just, it's like every member of this church is that person. That guy's fucking weird. I think my favorite moment with that was, there's this dude from my brother's school that knew Officer Fred, and we were talking, and that guy literally said Officer Fred was weird. And I repeated it to Officer Fred, and Officer Fred went and threatened his ass. So that guy later contacted me and told me, Officer Fred's not weird, he's totally normal, because he threatened to kill me. I don't know, Blondie's just so fucking stupid that when I tell him I don't know how to do something, like, when we got into the argument, I was like, so this guy has to recover from all that mental trauma, and then become a lawyer, and then go to court. And then Blondie was like, no, he doesn't need to become a lawyer and go to court. He doesn't. You just go and file like a reckless retard like me, and everything works out because everybody bends the system to you. I had this memory unlocked about the Utah Angels where he called me and was like, I'm a member of the court. I'm some type of clerk of some shit. And he was like, I'm only 16, and he's telling me about how it was hard work and this guy is just so accustomed to living in Candyland where everything is handed to him that he thinks he earns things that he doesn't fucking earn. And that is something that I think, whenever I'm dealing with rich kids, it's something I always think is just absolutely hilarious. There's this movie, I think it's called Arthur, and in Arthur, he's like this rich kid that's dating this girl, and he wants the girl to like him, and she writes books, so what he does is he bribes the CEO of a company to purchase her books so that she will feel good, and because she feels good, that she might like him, and then she finds out that he rigged it, and then basically in his mind, like, this is how his life has been. People have just rigged everything for him, so inherently he does it for her because that's how his life is easy. And dude, I don't buy into any of this shit. I'm not a dumbass. It's amazing how people just don't think their shit stinks. The aspect of going to court, like, and I remember Anal Eating Mummy God, I now remember him telling me, basically you have to crash your car into a building to go to court, and then go to prison for 5 years. Cool. Also, I looked it up, and if I crash my car into a building, that's an insurance problem. That's not a legal problem. The insurance companies handle that. The building insurance and the car insurance handle that. I might go to prison for reckless driving. That's about it. But even in reckless driving cases, I don't know if you get a full trial with that. I remembered a guy in Ackworth that just went straight to prison. I don't even think he got a trial for reckless driving. So I think Anal Eating Mummy God might be soft in the head. He might be weak in the upper story. From all that lead, but I don't know. Once again, criminal court. It's like JoJo. It's theoretical. If I have to try, but it's all theoretical. Once again, I don't see a winning proposition in this, and I think that's the end goal, is to make sure there is no winning for me, and I think that's how this shit is rigged. Like, Blondie never has to make a sacrifice. It's all handed to him. And when he was when the Utah Angels called me and told me that guy was helping them, I was just like, you guys are fucked. Like, whatever, he's going to be working against you. When I say that guy believes in that neat shit, that there's a rich ruling class and they have to be complete cocks and be dicks and just ruin life and make it as hard as they can for everybody, that is what Blondie believes. The only thing he wants is external validation, like Trump or anybody else. He wants people to like him, but the people he wants to be liked by are wealthy people. He is classist out the ass. He revealed that to me at Papa John's, explaining to me that it kept him up at night and made him sick to his stomach that I was almost something. And that he sees me at Papa John's and knows that's my natural environment and knows that's where I have to stay. And at all costs, no matter what, if I won $1 million, he would steal it. If I got a rich wife, he would murder her. And he went on a tirade. And like I said, as soon as the wives started telling me they're working with him, I was like, you're fucked. The only way to deal with these church leaders is to shoot them in the head. That's not a joke. Okay, I would pretend to work with him and then brain him if I were you women. Okay, I'd be like, no, it was a total accident. He died. Sorry about your useless, stupid, narcissistic piece of shit that wished his daddy loved him. You guys shouldn't fuck people up psychologically. He was a complete piece of shit. Too bad he didn't get mental help. He's an imbecile. I had this flashback to talking to my cuddle buddy in high school where I was talking about being a good person and she referred to me as self-righteous only to come in later and talk about how she was a complete piece of shit. And now I 1,000,000% agree with her. She is a complete piece of shit. And just like any member of this church, the only good they can do in the world is killing themselves. Fertilizer for the crops. That's the good you can do. That's kind of the bare minimum because we eventually all will be fertilizer for the crops. But that's the only good you can do. You're welcome that there is such a low level of good that being dead can be considered good. Yeah. Be sure to take it up with Jesus. Explain to him you died and you can't fuck up the world anymore. Therefore, you did a good act. Tell him I recommended it to you. The jokes aside, when she went on about that, I realized later Blondie was talking about murdering me, but first he had to steal all of my ideas because he needed it for his glory. And you ever find yourself stealing somebody's ideas? What you lack is an identity, and I'm going to go ahead and say this. People don't like it when you say religion does this. It deprives people of their natural identity. Blondie himself probably doesn't know who he is, and the FBI and CIA only hire gray men. Gray men have no identity, they have no structures. They're kind of like Emmett from the Lego movie at the beginning, where he's not special, he's not unique, he's just some loser, but he thinks he's better than what he is. Like in his own headcanon, he's the main character when he's just some construction worker. And I still remember saying this shit to Anal Eating Mummy God. He was like, oh, our guys are the best. They're the superior beings. And I was like, are they all just mass-produced and you just do the same shit to them and you fuck them up in the same way and they have the same neurotic behaviors? And I was like, are they all codependent on having lead brains and LSD to function? And then he was, no, they're unique. Buddy, I classified Gannon, Fred, Stu, Song, Blondie, fucking Kevin, David, these motherfuckers with all the same psychology. They're that mass-produced, and I would argue they're that far removed from reality. And I would argue, dude, this is a simple story. I'm just gonna, real quick tangent. The narcissist believes they can replace you because they have to prove to you they can replace you because they have to prove to you they're just as good as you. But in replacing you, they cause themselves misery because they are not their true selves. They are imitating being somebody else. I discussed this with a dude at a gas station one time where he was talking about he was jealous of his friend and his wife and how they had true love, and he was so fucking jealous. Now, this guy didn't admit he was jealous, but he was describing being jealous. He was angry that they had true love, which means he was jealous, and he couldn't fucking handle it. So he started spreading lies, manipulating and destroying, and then he eventually forced his friend to force them apart by lying. And then he took the girl, became her new husband, and then because he only knows conditional love, only acted in ways that made her like him. This woman liked having fucking, like, bondage, dirty, weird sex where she, like, peed on you. And this dude starts telling me about how he hates the sex with her. He hates that he has to be this fatherly figure, but it's okay because he can sneak off and pretend to be somebody else in another relationship. And it's so thrilling. And I was like, that's adrenaline seeking. I was like, you just like the thrill. And I told him, I was like, you don't have love. You have conditional love, and you keep seeking conditional love through how you act. You don't have unconditional love. You are a loser. And he was like, no, I taught my friend. I was like, is your friend remarried? He's, I haven't heard from him in 10 years. And then he found out, yeah, that guy's remarried, but the wife is ugly. His new wife is ugly. Therefore, he's miserable. And I was like, therefore, you don't know that, because I like fat chicks, and one day somebody will catch me with a fat chick and be like, he's miserable, he's dating a fat... No, I just like fat chicks. Okay. I mean, the church will murder her, but it doesn't matter. I'm pretty sure they're going to murder, like, probably 10 of the attorneys I talked down at the Broward clerk of whatever office, even though they refused to help me also, because apparently attorneys are big pussies, and whenever you see those movies where, like, the attorney's like, I like standing up for the small man. You want to talk about fucking self-righteous and virtue signaling. Fucking... whatever. Yeah. But I don't understand how you can be that stupid as a narcissist, but whatever. I think the other part is that we're good at reading people. They're not. They're fastidious. They poison people and alter their psychologies with heavy metals. But one of the other things that came to my attention was my subconscious mind, which is something I'm kind of like bonding with at the moment. I'm starting to comprehend it a little better and why it thinks and does what it do. You gotta use a lot of compassion for that. And whenever using compassion with a narcissist, I understand why you did what you did, but I don't forgive the behavior. I don't. I remember Stu was like, once I kill you and enslave you and you see my misery, you feel bad for me and you forgive me, victim. And I was, no. I can compassionately understand what happened to him is horrible. I can, but I do not forgive the behavior. And this is a thing, like, there's this guy called Homelander in The Boys, and Republicans relate to that disgusting piece of shit on every level, and they're like, oh, because you have empathy and sympathy and compassion for him, it's okay that he behaves the way he... No, it doesn't. No. You see, even in my apology video, when I said I was sorry, that doesn't mean I like you people. That doesn't mean I'm okay with what you did, okay? What it means is I have accepted the event. Wholeheartedly. I'm okay with it. Inner peace. That's what that does. It's not chaos! Whoa, what is it? I don't understand. I think like an imbecile. This is kind of a jumping rant. I've kind of went way off the rails from what I meant to talk about. So sometimes I talk about what I mean to talk about. Anyways, when I was talking to Anal Eating Mummy God, and he was talking about giving me this final chance to fix everything because zero accountability. They destroyed my brain, made me stupid, wanted me to be smart. And I'm just going to say this. Every person I realize now is guilty of doing this. Stu made me stupid, and I'm just going to say this to you guys. If you're nothing without your lead brains and your LSD, then you'll never be anything with them. That's right. Get rid of your lead brains and LSD. Let's see how well you do. They stole my intelligence, made me stupid, and then kept forcing me to try to do smart people things while I was stupid. Okay? And I've been diagnosed with a learning disorder since I was a kid, so I wasn't smart to begin with. The problem is these people drink lead and it makes them dumb. and then they do stupid things, and they have no agency or accountability or self-discipline. They react. They go off of whims at random, and everybody has to compensate and fix it, or else they'll kill them. Okay? They fuck up, everybody else has to fix it. They have no agency or accountability, and I don't know what makes people like that disgusting creature. That is not how things should ever work. Ever. But I realized this shit with Ganon, and like Ganon force feeding the belly girl. I remember the blue-eyed guy was talking about a smart guy that came up with a smart plan, and then they made him stupid. Okay, this shit happened with the Black Lives Matter, where these guys wanted me to turn myself in and all this shit and report them, and I was stupid on heavy metals. I can't do smart people things. Okay, when you make somebody stupid on heavy metals, they're stupid. I know it's very complicated. You're going to want somebody to explain it to you.